too then.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we're both old here.
Being as old as you feel.
But talk about the two people that we just part of the show already.
Well, both inspirational for different reasons, and the people that need inspiration will get it. They'll find their niche and their spot and who to get it from. Neither one of them is lacking in that field of inspiring people, but different people will get different things from them. So I told a quick story about my recovering from an accident, and people like Joe, how much they inspired me in my recovery process, and for that I'm like eternally grateful for the people that were out there, even though he didn't know he was helping me. He was. And that's an amazing point to make, is that even people like Daryl are going to inspire youngsters to get involved with music or some passion that they have in life, and he's going to help them realize their dream,
right?
Whether he knows them or not.
Right. And you know what? Who else realized their dream since 1908? The Chicago Cubs. I mean, they turned it out after 108 years. They did it for Chicago, and that was amazing.
Finally did it.
Against Cleveland, and Cleveland hasn't won since the 40s too, but Chicago took it home, and 5 million people turned it out there in their park to congratulate them. That was the biggest gathering of people outside a religious event. That 5 million people.
That is a lot of people. It shows a lot of dedication for the fans.
Yeah, well, I mean, generation after generation, when the Cubs win, the Cubs win. In 1908...
A lot of generations.
Yeah, in 1908, if we go back to 1908, the average life expectancy was 47 years old. So things changed since then.
Yeah.
Only 14% of homes just had a bathtub. You believe that? Only 14%. That's a big difference. And only 8% of homes had a telephone. So, I mean, things have changed drastically, and the average wage in 1908, guess what the average wage was an hour?
I don't know, I guess about 25 cents.
22 cents. Just a little bit more than we're making right here today on the show.
Yeah, so.
But anyway, it's a lot of things have changed since then, and the American flag only had 45 stars on it too, so not every state was represented at that time.
Yeah, there was a couple of latecomers.
Yeah, latecomers, and at that time, Las Vegas, Nevada only had 30 people as a population. So things changed since 1908, but the Cubbies won, and your book too, we're going to get back to your book a little bit. Your book has inspired so many people, and the nature of the book, explain that a little bit to our listeners and viewers out there.
The main focus of the book was the fact that I died from an accident that I had, and the massive head trauma that I sustained. And, it just goes through the process of passing over to the other side and seeing my father, my deceased father, who sent me back ultimately, and how I try to bring the benefits that I got while I was there, some heightened senses and things like that. I try to put them into practical use in my own life. And in doing so, I try to help other people accomplish the same thing through my experience. So it's a similar mission as to what you have and what you're doing, and if it inspired some people, I'm more than happy, in as much as I've been inspired by people like Joe and even Daryl. It's kind of like completing the circle,
right,
of giving back.
Right. So when you do book signings and different things with the public, either at bookstores or different venues, do you feel that connection that people have, or do you feel like they're, inquisitive of your journey?
Well, it's a sensitive subject, and it's personal to most people because there's always some measure of religion or spirituality involved, and that's usually a personal thing for people. So I try not to dig into their belief system too much. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I try to keep it general. If they ask specific questions, of course, I'll get into that. But it's hard. It's hard to feel the connection all the time right away.
Right.
Sometimes they have to go and think about it, or you know, they have to place it into their own belief systems. It's not something that I can really do for them. But, you know, I get a lot of reviews and things, so I hear about it afterwards,
Right.
how it helped them, and that they were happy that they read it and gained some comfort from it.
Right. And just so people are just viewing us for the first time, why don't you explain your book, the title of your book, and where people get a hold of it?
Well, it's called A Flight Without Wings. I don't have a copy of it on me, but you can find it anywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of the big retailers, Turn of the Corkscrew, which you're familiar with.
Yep.
Or they can go to my website, brianmclaughlinbooks.com, and get all the information they need. They can contact me if they have a question or a concern. I'd be happy to answer it for them right through the website, and maybe save them the cost of buying the book.
There you go. And I got a free copy of the book, so I want to thank you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I've read it a couple of times. It's a great book. You have to go out there and get it. But we have a couple of holidays coming up. Well, we got Election Day tomorrow. We got Veterans Day on Friday. So, I mean, without getting political, I know Joe shared who he's going to vote for.
Yeah, I'm not going to get political.
I know, but what's the main message? I teach a lot of kids in college and high school. The main message I'm trying to tell them is that despite who you're voting for, just go out there and vote.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, and that's the main message you should put out there, is that you get proactive. You go out and you vote. You know, I'm sure you have an opinion, and whether or not you want to share that with anyone is your own business. But you really need to go out and vote, so that for your own self, so that you're satisfied that you've contributed to who you wanted, and let the process work.
Right, right. And, you know, teaching younger people, I've never had, for several years now, I've never had more of a desire for young people to talk about the upcoming election. We've talked about over the last couple of weeks now about their thoughts about politics, foreign policy, the business part of things. Despite the negativity between the two candidates, they're talking about the different issues, which in the long run, that's what we want young people to talk about.
Yeah, it appears that this election is really charged, and is not necessarily, you know, it is partly, but not completely by the personalities involved. I think that people in this country are ready for some change, or ready to get involved, and that's where they start, is voting.
Right. Well, come Tuesday night, we're going to have a new president in town, you know, starting in January, and changing the guard, and we all have to band together as a country to support that person, and looking forward to that. And Veterans Day is on Friday. We've had a show a couple of weeks ago with some Vietnam vets, and I know we're doing a special benefit at the Mousetrap for November 19th for Operation Initiative, Lou Falco's program.
Right.
So talk about your feelings about veterans and the need for not just young people, for everybody to acknowledge what they've done for our country.
Well, I think all one has to do is reflect on what kind of service they give to the country and to all of us. And you could easily see that you know, we owe them a debt of gratitude that's very hard to satisfy, you know, on a personal basis. So I think what people need to do is to get involved with organizations and maybe contribute a little bit, whether that be financially or with their time, and to help the organizations, because they have more power, more collective power.
Right.
And this way, these veterans who put their life on the line, oftentimes are injured, have to adjust in life, dealing with mental issues and PTSD and things like that. They need to have a place to go to that can help them.
Right.
And it has to be specific help from other veterans. That's where the best help comes from. So I think that that's something that people need to keep in mind. They don't have to fully understand the veteran or what he does or so forth, although they can go to like Lou's organization and find all of that out. But I mean, all the person has to do really is reflect on what's going on over there. You know, the fact that they're carrying guns and they're fighting an enemy, whether you believe it in or not. These guys are enlisted in the service of their country, and they need to be respected and not forgotten.
Right. And again, as an educator, I'm constantly talking about, you know, what Vietnam War was, what World War II was. And if you see a veteran, for younger people, or for older people too, go up there, thank them for their service. You know, reach out to someone. It's not a hard thing to do, but sometimes people kind of miss that, and they're the ones that really protected our freedom.
Yeah, very much so. And you know, they really need to turn that whole thing around. You know, I grew up in an era with the Vietnam War, and it was kind of shameful what this country did to the vets when they came back, and they didn't come back with any kind of a welcome.
Right.
And it's not too late to welcome them back.
Right. Right.
If you know someone that spent time in Vietnam, it's not too late to thank them for their service.
Right. Well, Veterans Day is coming up on Friday, so everybody go out there and thank a veteran if you see them. And again, if you come down to the Mousetrap on November 19th, you'll see a lot of veterans there. For more information, you can just reach out to the Chapters Rap, 516-476-6271. We're also acknowledging Carolyn's Cuisine, who's a local, has a local restaurant in Amityville that gives back to families in need. And she'll be there for that show. There'll be lots of entertainment. And I want to thank the ownership of the Mousetrap, Tommy and Tom, and everybody that put that thing together, and also the work that they do here. So I want to personally thank them. And but I still can't get over the fact that you call me old. Look, I think you're older than me. We got to check birth certificates.
Well, I mean, I could be older than you, but I think it's all a matter of perception.
I think so. I think so.
You know, the number might be higher,
okay.
But you know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna mull that one over on the commercial break. But we have a really special guest.
Just roll the camera back.
We can just roll the camera.
You can check for yourself.
I'll check for myself. But we have a really special guest after, John Serby, who's the founder of Bridgestones, who does a lot of wonderful work for orphans around the world. So check back in on the Chapters Rap after the commercial break.
Very good.